The 1956 wedding of Grace Kelly to Prince Rainier of Monaco is the ultimate real-life fairy tale. A breathtaking Hollywood queen, adored by millions, leaving all her fame and fortune behind to marry a European prince. It's a story that feels almost too good to be true. But what if I told you this wasn't just a romance? What if it was also a calculated masterpiece of strategy? This was a high-stakes gamble designed to save a tiny, struggling principality from being wiped off the map and transform it into the global capital of glamour we know today. So, how did a Hollywood princess and a European prince pull off one of the most successful rebrands in a nation's history? This is the story of how a wedding saved a country. To really get why this wedding was so brilliant, you have to picture the world right after World War II. When Prince Rainier III took the throne of Monaco in 1949, he was just 26 years old, and he inherited a country in a quiet crisis. Monaco, the glittering jewel of the French Riviera, was losing its sparkle. Its economy, which depended almost entirely on the Grand Monte Carlo casino, was failing. The two world wars and the 1929 financial crisis had scared away the wealthy aristocrats who once flocked to its shores. The casino, once the nation's engine, was sputtering. Monaco was becoming a beautiful relic, a memory of a bygone era that was slowly fading away. And politically? Things were even shakier. The tiny nation, only about 2 square kilometers, lived under the constant shadow of its powerful neighbor, France. A 1918 treaty gave France major influence over Monaco, but there was one clause that was especially terrifying for the Grimaldi dynasty: if the prince were to die without an heir, Monaco would be absorbed into France. Rainier was a bachelor, and the clock was ticking. To make matters worse, the Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis was becoming a dominant force in Monaco, controlling the state bank and huge amounts of real estate. It's even been suggested that Onassis himself floated the idea that a high-profile marriage to a famous American actress could be the ultimate PR move to save the economy. Rainier, nicknamed the Builder Prince for his ambitious vision, knew he had to do something drastic. He wasn't just looking for a wife, he was looking for a savior for his country. He needed to create an event so spectacular it would force the world to look at Monaco again. He had to trade the dusty image of old-world gambling for something fresh, glamorous, and irresistible. He needed a queen. And he found her in Hollywood. By 1955, Grace Kelly was at the absolute peak of her career. She was one of the most famous and beloved women on the planet. Known for her ethereal beauty and cool elegance, she was a muse to Alfred Hitchcock, starring in classics like Rear Window and To Catch a Thief, which was, ironically, filmed right there in Monaco. In 1954, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for The Country Girl. She was true Hollywood royalty. So how did they even meet? Well, it was basically set up by a journalist from Paris Match magazine during the 1955 Cannes Film Festival. The first meeting was polite and professional, but it sparked something. Prince Rainier started writing her heartfelt letters, and this long-distance courtship led to him visiting her family in Philadelphia over Christmas, where he proposed. The engagement was a global sensation. But underneath the storybook romance was sharp strategy. Choosing an American movie star wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate fusion of European aristocracy with the modern glamour of American celebrity. This wasn't just a marriage, it was the creation of a brand. Grace Kelly was the perfect ambassador for a new Monaco, a place of sophistication, beauty, and excitement. The deal, however, came with a huge sacrifice. At just 26 years old, Grace Kelly had to give up her acting career. For good. It was a decision that ended one of the most promising careers in cinema history. MGM, the studio that made her a star, negotiated the exclusive rights to film the wedding, knowing just how massive it would be. Her spectacular wedding dress was even a gift from the studio, a final link to the world she was leaving behind. The stage was set for the world to witness not just a wedding, but the birth of a new national identity. The royal wedding of April 1956 was, without a doubt, the event of the century. It was a media spectacle unlike anything the world had ever seen. Over 1,600 reporters and photographers descended on Monaco, a larger media group than the one that covered all of Europe during World War II. When Grace Kelly arrived on the SS Constitution, a crowd of 20,000 people, nearly the entire population of Monaco at the time, was there to greet her. The event was broadcast on television to an estimated 30 million people worldwide, a staggering number for the time. For many, it was their first glimpse into the opulent world of European royalty. Because of Monaco's laws, the wedding happened in 2 parts. First, a civil ceremony on April 18 in the Prince's Palace. The next day, the grand religious ceremony took place at St. Nicholas Cathedral. Grace's wedding gown, with its high neckline and long lace sleeves, became an instant icon of bridal fashion. Every detail was designed for maximum global impact. The guest list was a wild mix of Hollywood royalty like Cary Grant and Ava Gardner, alongside European nobles and diplomats. The 6-tier wedding cake, a gift from the chefs at Monte Carlo's Hotel de Paris, was a masterpiece in itself, weighing nearly 200 pounds and designed to release a pair of live doves when cut. After the ceremony, the couple rode through the streets in an open-top Rolls-Royce, waving to the cheering crowds. This wasn't just a party, it was a powerful statement. The Grace Kelly effect was immediate. Tourism boomed as fans flocked to Monaco to catch a glimpse of their new princess. In the years that followed, tourism soared, and Monaco's economy was completely revitalized. The gamble had paid off spectacularly. But the wedding was just the beginning. Princess Grace's real impact on Monaco unfolded over the next 26 years. She didn't just lend her image to the principality, she actively reshaped its soul. She knew that for Monaco's new identity to last, it needed more than just glamour. It needed culture and a conscience. Princess Grace dedicated herself to public service. She became president of Monaco's Red Cross in 1958 and founded Aide Mondiale, a global non-profit that protects the rights of children worldwide and is recognized by the UN. Her daughter, Princess Caroline, continues to lead the organization today. She also poured her energy into the arts, helping establish the Monte Carlo Ballet and founding the Princess Grace Foundation in 1964 to support local artists. Her influence was so profound that it's even credited with helping to stabilize Monaco's tense relationship with France. During a 1962 political crisis where French President Charles de Gaulle blockaded Monaco over its tax status, her international popularity and quiet diplomacy were seen as key factors in cooling things down and preserving Monaco's sovereignty. Tragically, Princess Grace's life was cut short in a car accident in 1982. The world mourned. In her honor, Prince Rainier established the Princess Grace Foundation USA to continue her work, supporting emerging artists in America. Since 1984, the foundation has awarded over $19 million to more than 900 artists in theater, dance, and film, ensuring Grace's legacy continues to nurture new generations of talent. Today, Monaco remains a global symbol of luxury, its harbor filled with super yachts and its streets lined with designer boutiques. This modern reality is the direct legacy of Prince Rainier's strategic vision and the transformative power of his princess. The wedding of 1956 was so much more than a fairy tale. It was a calculated act of nation-building, a perfect union of old-world royalty and new-world celebrity that saved a country from obscurity and cemented the legend of Princess Grace of Monaco. The story of Princess Grace is a powerful example of how a single event can change the course of history. If you find these deep dives into the strategies and legacies of royal families fascinating, consider subscribing for more stories that reveal the hidden history behind the headlines.